Okay, welcome back. We've got an exciting one today. I'm going to talk you through my not only high ticket sales journey, but journey over the past 10 years, just to give you a bit of context. So, yeah, I guess I can take you right back to school. If you know, you know, Big Badge, Finnan Park School. So, yeah, I just want to touch on the sixth form aspect, which, by the way, I just got into. So, it's a bit of a common theme. Just got into the sixth form, just got into uni. I didn't work as hard as I should have. I wasn't the best student until I got to uni and realized that kind of no one was coming to save me. I had a bit of a realization during my second year, like you've actually got to knuckle down, you've got to work hard. And when I did, I started getting all the success I could possibly want. I got a first class degree, I got a graduate job, and everything started to play out exactly how I imagined. But the problem was I didn't feel that aligned. I think the cool thing about sixth form and uni, you did have a lot of freedom. You know, for sixth form, you could take different classes in the morning and then go home in the afternoon, or vice versa. And I just like the idea of being able to kind of, yeah, not necessarily do what I want when I want, but again, have that kind of autonomy over my schedule. And it's the same at uni, right? Like you can go to lectures if you want, you can turn up to the seminars, but realistically, the only thing that matters is turning the assignment in and passing the exam. So, yeah, focused, got the results, and then started my big boy job. So, yeah, got a graduate job, which I was very proud of. It wasn't the easiest thing to do, and obviously with the first as well, kind of went to uni for those two reasons. So to come out of it on the other side, it was a success. The problem was after 6 months of working this new job, I didn't feel successful. I wanted that freedom again. I was literally clocking in, clocking out. It was like 8 till 5 every single day, and it just wasn't right for me specifically. There's people out there who thrive in that environment, and I just wasn't one of those individuals. I looked at people 5, 10, 20 years ahead of me, and I just didn't want to be in that position. So I knew how to make a change, and it definitely wasn't easy, but I came across the high ticket sales world, and fair to say, it has definitely changed my life. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not saying I know everything. I'm just documenting where I'm at on the climb of the mountain. I'm not at the summit yet. I don't think anyone really ever gets to the summit, as as cheesy as that is. But yeah, I left JCB, did like a couple of years there, finished the grad scheme, and then joined the high ticket sales world. It's a crazy story. I saw this job ad on the influencer, the founder, his Instagram story, and I swiped up, and oh mate, it was a it was a crazy one. I try and say this pretty fast, but I probably emailed this guy about 10 times to get an interview, and for some reason, like he would reply, he'd push me off a week, and I was like, I just need to get out of this job. I need to leave. I need to leave. And obviously, I wasn't saying that to him. I was kind of playing it cool. I don't really know what he thought of me or what happened, because as soon as he jumped on a call with me and he realized I wasn't an idiot, he hired me on the spot because he was like the recruiter, right? And he got sacked a week later. And the team often said the best thing he did was bring you on board. But anyway, I joined this team, and it was a fantastic environment to work in. It was like a bit of a hybrid, high ticket sales corporate, because they had an office up in Newcastle, which I'll go to quite a bit, and made some great friends. So yeah, it was a bit of an interesting one because they had a recruitment agency, but they had a service which helps other recruitment agencies scale using AI. So I was setting for them, so like an SDR, sales development representative, appointment setter, whatever you want to call it. But it was remote. I could go to the office, and I did a couple times. But I also went to Cyprus. I went to Marbella. Shout out Jack. And I started to experience like, okay, like I don't just have to work in the same place, clock in, clock out. I have got that flexibility to kind of travel the world and go and do what I want to do. whilst doing something that I actually care about. I actually enjoy it. I think the aspect of commission started to excite me a lot because, yeah, the more you kill, the more you eat, right? I could sit down for a few hours and make £1,000. Like, that just excited me so much, and yeah, I became addicted. The problem with being an appointment setter, and I do think you should start as a setter, um, just to get that kind of experience and exposure. But yeah, the problem is you're not in control of the deals that close. That's the closers. So it depends on their state that day. They're going to get along with the lead that you set for them, and ultimately, yeah, you're not the one in control. And I didn't like that feeling. I wanted to be the one taking the credit card details, closing the deal, finishing it off. So after about a year, I think 18 months at this company setting, there just was an opportunity for me to close. We had some great closers, we had some good talent. It was, yeah, time to figure out something else. And that's when I joined Grow Channels. It's kind of come full circle actually, because today, June 4th, I just left that business because the volume isn't where I needed to be to reach my financial goals. So it's sort of bittersweet. It's not left on a bad note. Probably go back, you know, if I ever should want to. But yeah, this kind of opened my eyes, right? This is where my income tripled. And the biggest catalyst, the biggest lesson I wanted you to take away from this part was I, I invested into myself here. I'm probably earning 2 to 3K a month, which isn't loads, right? But still, good amount of money, got to travel, or a decent amount of money, enough to travel. But I actually invested £1,000 into my first coach. And then this kind of was a domino effect. I've invested probably 30,000 into coaches since then. But they always have a return on investment. So invest into the biggest asset that you have, which is yourself. And that investment has given me, the biggest ROI ever in my life, probably ever will be, because yeah, Charlie Shao got me into this role. I had a call with the manager. He asked about my experience. I blagged it a little bit. So I'd been closing for about 6 months, and he just chucked me on the calendar. Like the confidence, and yeah, didn't close my first deal, but then I closed my second and my third. I was like, shit, I've just made more in 2-3 hours than I did in like a couple of weeks working as a setter. So yeah, definitely another switch was flicked, and kind of got to travel again. Went back to Cyprus with Jack. I mean, it was a little bit more bougie this time. Had a bit more money. Went to Ibiza, did the marathon, half marathon, and worked there for a little bit. Did Mallorca, that was nice. And then last November, I came to Colombia, and that has been life changing. So much has happened. I've leveled up my mindset, my physique, my network, circle, and then also like yeah, my finances as well, the way I'm structured. So I'm not a UK resident anymore. There's a video I just did on that. But ultimately, I'm not paying tax now. So like a lot has happened, way more than I actually thought was gonna. And yeah, I've been here like 7 months now. Going to Mexico next month because I want a bit more. I'm in a city, right? And it is city. You can probably kind of see the mountains, but yeah, I want to be near the beach, living in Nice. So yeah, going there next month. But it's just it's been a great experience. Like I said, left Grow Channels. Now I'm in a position where I'm just finding my feet on these two offers. So we've got a guy here called Anthony Nucci. He's like a real estate legend over in the States, and he's got a course that helps other real estate agents who are just starting, excel, cold call, use AI, kind of similar to James Blackwell, who I didn't mention, but he had the agency blueprint. And then on the other side, you got this guy called Dan Roma. So he's a little bit older. I think he's like 50 something. He is an apostle who travels the world preaching, which is crazy. But the cool thing is about Dan is he's got multiple 7 to 8 figure businesses. So what he now does is he helps scale other entrepreneurs, restructure their business, but do it with God at the center. So I'm now closing for him as well. Taking a couple calls for each, just figuring out which one makes most sense for me. But both have definitely got legs. I could definitely do both, but yeah, we're gonna see. Um, I think the biggest realization that I've got from having a bit more time to kind of relax and not relax, but just think, a bit of space, not just taking calls every single day. Is, I don't want these two guys. I don't want the owner of Grow Channel. I don't want, the James. I don't want any other man to be in control of my income and putting money in my pocket. So, it's not going to happen overnight. I'm 25. I mean, people have done it younger, but starting to now build out other things. Different businesses. Maybe I can do an offer um, through the personal brand. I don't know, but it's starting to kind of make me think that if I want to go back to having complete freedom, when I first felt it at sixth form, being able to do what I want when I want, that is going to come from having your own business. And I don't think you should rush to have your own business. I think you should build yourself first, mentally fortify your mind, physically be in the best shape possible, spiritually be connected, and then the finances will come. Am I, elite level all three yet? No. Will I be hopefully, in the near future? 6, 12, 18, 24 months? Well, hopefully that's kind of what I'm working towards every single day. So that's kind of where I'm at now. There I am in the middle. Um, but yeah, this, I guess, title has been a little bit misleading. Is high ticket sales a scam? I think for me, it's been one of the best things I've ever done. Is if everybody know, have I been lucky somewhat, but I've worked hard. Volume and hard work negates luck. So take that as you will. But, it's an absolute possibility to come in and earn 10, 20, 30K a month, which is what I've done. Right now, it's a little bit less because I'm in between opportunity, but I know I can get back there soon. Um, so, yeah, I think if you are considering it, 100%, take a look, ask me a question, and yeah, I'll try and support you where I can. I think that's pretty much it on my journey. You know, take risks. No one's coming to save you, and invest into yourself. They're the three things that I want you to kind of get from this. And yeah, I'm taking action, putting these videos out there now, and staying consistent because I actually do want to build something real. Um, a lot of craziness online about different gurus and people that can help you, and I don't think I can help you right now. I can point you in the right direction of who I've worked with, and maybe that's going to be something of value. But just trying to come from this in the most authentic and honest way possible. So ask me some questions and get after it. No one's going to do it for you. All right. See you in the next one.